I do it? Well, morning stream, hola, hello. Yes, we are. We are quite a bit earlier or later, depending on your yeah, time zones. But yes, we're gonna see what happens. I thought as I was starting out, like this is a much different time, which it shouldn't make a difference, but it does. I was like, I'm gonna forget things, and I did forget things. I forgot to plug in my mic and all the other stuff, so it does. It makes a difference, and that is why I thought about this as I'm getting this up. I like to test my students test my students about like, yeah, so get them into their groove and everything, have them do everything the same way every time, but then like, oh, maybe we'll fuel up early, or we'll do something, I don't know, like throw them off just a little bit just to kind of show how that stuff really does matter. So yes, hello, how is it going? I hope this is good for you guys. But yeah, we'll see. Oh gosh, hang on. I know some people, they're probably busy. Busier at this time than at the other. Ooh, and I have some things I'm working out, so just hang on for a second. Perfect. Okay, should be good now. Hello. We're gonna get to it. So we have a little, well, first, I guess, flight instructor instrument practical test standards for airplane rating and witchcraft rating. Going down. So I have gotten a little bit more of a lowdown of what my Checkride is going to be. So I talked about before that the other CFI at my work airport took his double I with the DP that I will be taking my double I with. And he said that instructor, that CFI said, well, now double I, said that my examiner didn't do any of the things. So yeah, didn't do, that doesn't help. Hang on. I know how to highlight now. No, stop. What are you doing? No. I don't know how to highlight now. Hang on. What? Highlight. Why doesn't it let... Hang on. God dang it. Hang on. I almost got it. Here we go. There. Yes. Troubleshooting, problem solving. That looks naughty. Hang on. There. So this one. That is what other CFI said I was going to do. That DP does not do the things other than the things that you're supposed to. Because, again, so if I have an instrument airplane, hang on, flight instructor certificate and rating held. So yes, if I have a flight, hang on, wait, what? Oh, I completely read that wrong. What on earth? Okay, you're here but silently lurking because you're working. Okay, sounds good. I will try to be as obnoxious as possible. That's always my go-to. I would rather be obnoxious and potentially embarrassed because it amuses me. But yes, hopefully the working goes well. And yes, we'll see what happens. Morning, how's it going? So I cannot freaking believe that I messed this up. Flight instructor certificate and rating held. Hang on. I have the airplane. Hang on. Well, right? Hang on. If I have flight instructor certificate and rating held, I have the flight instructor certificate and I mean, I have instrument airplane, but I do not have that makes sense. That makes more sense. Gosh darn it. Okay. Wow. I've been going over this for months. So this is what we're doing. So this is right? Am I reading this correctly? Does anyone else have any thoughts, ideas? So let's go through what we actually have to do, huh? Wow, maybe I don't know. Our documents. Because, you know, it didn't make much sense that, like, I wouldn't have to do pre-flight and or, like, the ATC stuff and everything. So, let's go over what we actually have to do. Airplane, FOI, we don't have to do that. I have my PowerPoints ready from CFII if necessary. Our technical subject areas, A and C. So aircraft, flight instruments, and navigation equipment. Boom. And then C, regulations and publications related to IFR operations. Okay. And so in my ness, I don't know if I finished telling this. So I talked to the other instructor and we were talking about what sort of things he had to do. And he mentioned like the flight instruments and something else, the logbook stuff. Yeah, he did mention the logbook and that is not in here, but yeah, whatever. So he did, he mentioned the aircraft flight instruments and I was like, that isn't on that one. So I was like, oh no, so he is doing the other stuff. Frick. So B, sorry, hang on. So it would make more sense if it's based off of this one rather than this one. So I'm guessing that this one is if I'm adding a helicopter rating to my existing double I. Does that make sense? Okay. Frick. Good to know. All right, so let's go over what we have to do. So, FOIs, no. Technical subject areas, our aircraft, flight instruments, and navigation equipment. Got one of those. Our regulations and publications related to IFR operations. Got that. Logbook entries relate, well, and then, so B and D are aeromedical factors. I have that. I readjusted my CFI one. And then logbook entries related to instrument instruction, adjusted my CFI one. Both of those are fairly simple. Pre-flight preparation, B and C. So that is cross-country flight planning and then instrument cockpit check. The instrument cockpit check, I have one to do in the plane and around the plane, so I don't know if I have to make one for like in the thing. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. And then cross-country flight planning, I should probably, yeah. I was like, yeah, shoot. Okay, yep, nope, that's gonna be fine. We're gonna figure it out. Pre-flight, number 4, we don't have to do a pre-flight lesson on a maneuver to be performed in flight. Boom. And then 5, air traffic control clearances and procedures. Air traffic control clearances. B, compliance with departure en route. And I guess actually, we'll just scroll down since, yeah. We'll scroll down so you can actually see, since we know that we need to do the rest of them. Wait, here, where is this? What is this? This is page 10. We're gonna scroll back up. Sorry, I'm having an existential crisis on stream. Bet you weren't expecting that today. I was not. I certainly was not. Here we go. Okay, so again, don't need that one. Do need, oops, this one and this one, potentially this one. And then we need these two. Instrument flight deck check. How, hang on. Why is this different? What? Oh no! My practical test standards is from 2010. Double existential crisis. Oh no, oh no. Okay, that's good to know. So don't have to do this one. Don't have to do the pre-flight lesson on a maneuver to be performed in flight. Do need to do the rest of these. Air traffic control clearances and procedures, air traffic control clearances, compliance with departure, en route, and arrival procedures and clearances, flight by reference to instruments, straight and level flight, turns, change of airspeed and straight and level and turning flight, constant airspeed climbs and descents, constant rate climbs and descents, time turns to magnetic compass headings, steep turns, recovery from unusual flight attitudes. Boom. Navigation aids, intercepting and tracking navigational systems and DME arcs, holding procedures, instrument approach procedures being non-precision, precision, missed approach, circling approach in an airplane for an airplane. Oh, interesting. As well as landing from a straight-in approach. And then our emergency operations, loss of communications, approach with loss of, oh, don't need multi-engine. Loss of communications and approach with loss of primary flight instrument indicators. Post-flight procedures, checking instruments and equipment. Boom. Excellent. Amazing. We did the things. So yeah, so those are the things. Those are the things that need to be done. I'm just gonna go like this for just a second. Then we're gonna go like this. Then we're gonna go like this. So, since we have to do, oops, I don't like that. Yeah, okay, we'll just go like this. Since, oh no, hang on. Well, we'll see if that's an issue. So yes, so since we have to do our, where is it? Regulations and publications related to IFR operations. Boom! We have that today. We're gonna do that hopefully quickly today. And then we will hopefully get in the plane. I did kind of forget that bandwidth and other such things regarding, yeah, that sort of stuff. Potentially may be an issue. So hopefully we will get to the flying. If we don't get to the flying, then we'll just do more of these. But I think it shall be fine. So, are you all ready to not learn and critique my PowerPoint for my regulations and publications related to IFR operation? Okay, we're gonna say that you are. So, and even if you're not, we're just gonna barrel right through it. So, yes, regulations and publications related to IFR operation. To begin, instrument flying has a lot to do with regulations, specifically, as well as procedures. And these are put in place so that we can get safely through our en route airspace system from a departure all the way through a landing under our IFR instrument flight rules, as well as potentially in instrument meteorological conditions. So these are put in place to deal with obstacle clearance, traffic coordination with ATC, weather conditions, differing aircraft, as well as pilot capability options. In order to utilize them properly, it requires knowledge of and proficiency with these procedures, as well as proper utilization of equipment available and our resources. So it is the pilot's duty to read and reference the provided material. Some of it is going to be new, some of it will be familiar with IFR specific sections from private. So, oh, and I have my little PTS areas here. So hopefully they match up to the 2023 version. I'm so upset. We'll see. So 14 CFR 61 certification, this one. So we're getting right into our FARs, our regulations. So we should be familiar with our 14 CFR 61. That is our certification of pilots and instructors. Overview, It's the requirements for issuing our pilot, flight and ground instructor certificates and ratings, the conditions under which the certificates and ratings are necessary, as well as the privileges and limitations of each. Subparts being aircraft ratings and pilot authorization. This includes FAR 6157, which is our recent flight experience in order to be PIC, and that should be familiar, but we'll add a little bit to it. FAR 6165 adds in our instrument rating requirements, which we'll come back to. Additional certificates and ratings is another subpart: student, recreational, private, commercial, airline transport pilots, flight instructors, ground instructors, sport pilots. Whether or not that will be relevant for instrument remains to be seen. So 14 CFR 61, how does that apply to IFR pilots? FAR 6165A, instrument rating requirements. So these are our instrument rating requirements, or our requirements to get an instrument certificate. So in order to do that, to be eligible, you need to have a current private certificate for an aircraft suitable to whatever you're doing your instrument rating checkride in. You need to be English capable. You need to complete ground training and or study in the areas of operation in Section B, which we'll come back to, as well as get a knowledge test endorsement and pass that knowledge test on those areas. Also need to complete training in the areas of operation of Section C, get a practical test endorsement, and then pass that practical test as well. So our 6165B is our knowledge specific to IFR ops, so keep that in mind. So our FARs, AIM, ATC ops, navigation and approaches, en route and instrument charts, weather, reports, forecasts, etc. Safe and efficient aircraft operation under IFR and in IMC, recognizing critical weather, aeronautical decision-making and crew resource management all need to be taken care of. Ground training and study, passing a knowledge test on all these areas specific to IFR operations. And then C, this is our practical areas of operation. So again, IFR ops for pre-flight prep procedures, ATC clearances and procedures, instrument flying, navigation systems, instrument approach procedures, emergency ops, and post-flight procedures. 6165D, this is our aeronautical training experience that has to be logged in order to actually be eligible and go take the check ride. So should be familiar with this, understand that those hours and things that needed to be logged from private. For this one, 50 cross-country as PIC, 10 of which must be in an airplane, 40 actual and or simulated instrument hours on the areas of operation in C, so all of these, right? 15 of these have to be from an authorized instructor, so a double I. Of these 40 actual or simulated instrument hours, 3 of them must be instructed within the previous 2 calendar months before check ride, and then there must be IFR cross-country training included, including a filed IFR cross-country that is 250 nautical miles along airways or ATC routing. There must be an approach at each airport, and there must be 3 different kinds of approaches using navigation systems. So all that must be in the logbook. 6157C, so our recent experience to be PIC for IFR operations specifically. So you still do need your your passenger recent experience if that is what you're going to be doing. But if you're going to be filing and flying IFR, you need to, within 6 calendar months, perform and log under actual or simulated conditions 6 hits. 6 instrument approaches, holding procedures and tasks, intercepting and tracking with navigation systems. And if you are going to be using a simulator for any of that, you can use any combination of those and the aircraft as long as the simulator is of the proper category for that rating and it's under simulated instrument meteorological conditions. You can't do it IFR flight under VMC visual conditions, even if you're on a simulator. So keeping in mind, this is all cumulative. So you must have 6 hits looking back 6 months from the date of the flight. So you could do one approach a month, as well as the holding procedures, intercepting and tracking within that 6 months as well. Or you could do it all in one day if you really wanted to, then you would be good for 6 months. Whether or not that's a good idea for proficiency is the question. So once you are actually not current, you have another 6 months to get that 6 hits again with a safety pilot until you are required to do an IPC, an instrument proficiency check, which is under 6157D. So if as soon as you're not current, as soon as you don't have that 6 hits, you are not able to file and fly IFR until you get those 6 hits. And you have that 6 months in order to actually get that with the safety pilot, is how that works. It can be kind of confusing, so hopefully that was potentially less confusing, or maybe it was more. All right, 14, CFR 71 and airspace. So this one deals with the designation of Class Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, and Echo, all our controlled airspace areas, as well as air traffic service routes and reporting points. This section, this 14 CFR 71 is the regulatory source for airspace info that is better understood and retained through graphical and pictorial means, such as the below. So, understand them with this stuff, but knowing where it actually comes from is a good idea. 14 CFR 91, and here's the thing, like this is, and now I'm curious if, we're gonna go down here for a second. I'm curious if it's even necessary. Yeah, I'm just complete existential crisis. Howdy ho there, howdy-o! How is it going? How is it going? Good to see you. We are doing... Okay, so it is. Yes, 71, 91, 95, 97. Appears to be all the same. That makes me feel good. All that work for nothing. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, so it is apparently required, this one. So yeah, we go 61... a bunch of stuff, and then one slide on 71, and then on to 91. Good morning. Yes, we are at a different time. I hope it is okay. And we'll see. I don't know. Early stream today. Yes. Oh, I didn't mention that. So yes, I have some stuff going on this week that, yes. Yeah, I almost streamed last night, but I was like, I need to try to be a little bit not, what's the word? Not go to bed so late. Get some better sleep this week. So yeah, we decided to switch it up a little bit, and hope that's okay. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Continuing. So 14 CFR 91, general operating flight rules. Again, this one we should be familiar with as well. This is just our rules for governing operation of aircraft. Subparts, general, flight rules, equipment, instrument and certificate requirements, special flight ops, and maintenance, preventative maintenance, and alterations. So 14 CFR 91 and dealing with IFR aircraft. 91205D has our instruments and equipment. For instrument flight rules, we must have all of our VFR equipment, so that is tomato flames and flaps, depending on what type of flight we will be doing. And in addition, if we're flying instruments, we need our grab card. So generator and or alternator of adequate capacity, radio, that's a two-way radio, as well as route appropriate navigation equipment, our sensitive altimeter, the ball of the turn coordinator, our clock with a second hand, our attitude indicator, rate of turn indicator, and our directional gyro. FAR 91411, our altitude equipment testing and inspection. We may be familiar with our AV8s. We should be familiar with our AV8s for our pre-flight maintenance check, or all the maintenance things that have to be done with the aircraft. Altitude, or our altimeter and pitot static check, is our second A in that. So we might be familiar with that, but now it applies to us because we will be doing instrument flying. So within 24 calendar months, each static pressure system, each altimeter instrument, and each automatic pressure altitude reporting system must be checked, inspected, and logged. So now FAR 91171, VOR check and log. Again, we may be familiar with this. If we are navigating via VOR, we need our VOR check and log. So within the preceding 30 days, we must have checked and logged our VOR operation. So there are different methods as well as error allowances, and for different for those different methods. And the chart supplement should give nearby options. So our first one, our VOR testing facility, VOT, allows a maximum bearing error of plus minus 4 degrees. It should show 180 degrees to or 360 degrees from when the needle is centered. So if it is 180 degrees from or 360 degrees to, that's definitely more than plus minus 4 degrees. So keeping that in mind. If that's not available, designated checkpoint on the airport, again, plus minus 4 degrees. Airborne checkpoint gives us a little more leeway, plus minus 6 degrees, and center of an airway radial. So you'd find one of those, fly over a prominent ground point along it, note the bearing on your VOR, or on your indicator, and it must be plus minus 6 degrees of the published radial. In order to remember these, if you're checking it on the ground, error allowance is plus minus 4 degrees. If you're airborne, you get a little bit more leeway, like we said, plus minus 6 degrees. If you have a dual system, 2 separate VORs, 2 separate indicators, dual system, plus minus 4 degrees of each other. Yay! No complaints here. Okay, sounds good. Hello, Sleazy sent you. Oh, hello, and hello, Sleazy. In spirit. Hello, good to see you. Good to have you. We will hopefully be getting in the plane if the internet holds up. But for now, we are currently working on lesson plans. Well, one lesson plan. Just got the one lesson plan for now.